Keys to the Commonwealth, a podcast where we share the real stories of local community members who are using real estate to build personal wealth, along with tips and tricks from professionals across the industry. And now, your host, Landry Fields.
Welcome back to another episode of the Keys to the Commonwealth podcast. I'm excited for today's episode. We are going to be talking a lot of things on the short-term side, a lot of deep dives into nuances and things I think most people don't know about or think about on today's show. So excited to have Shane O'Donnelly on the show today with us. So Shane, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Landry.
Appreciate you coming on. I've seen you on the Facebook groups and so forth for a little bit now, and you always have insight, I think, that is really just different than what most people are posting about, or thinking outside the box in a lot of ways with when it comes to running these businesses of short-term rentals and so forth. So before we jump into that, though, kind of hop in the door and give me a little bit of your background, how you got into the real estate business itself.
Well, for a few years, I'd had some long-term rentals in Fayette County, and I've looked in the short-term space, and, admittedly, the money was intriguing. Just the returns seemed to be sick. So I started out looking in Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, just because that's what I was familiar with.
Same.
And it didn't take me long to realize, look, I'm not paying $400 or $500 a square foot for a 20-year-old cabin that's about to fall down. So
probably took me a little longer to figure that out.
Yeah,
than you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We actually made a couple of offers originally before we get it, and then we were like, you know what, that's probably a good thing we didn't get those cabins.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's not that close to where I live. It would have been sort of a nightmare to stage it and manage it on my own.
Yeah.
But then I started looking closer to, where I live. I live in Richmond. And I noticed, when I did a comparison of the gorge, Red River Gorge to Gatlinburg, when you look at cabins to tourists, the ratio was actually a little better. And
I don't think people realize that. Compared to Gatlinburg and other these places when it comes to the gorge.
Yeah, the gorge gets 800,000 visitors a year, and 2/3 of them come from Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan.
It still shocks me how many people in Lexington don't even really know about the gorge. You would think like everybody here would.
Well, I'll make a confession. I've still never hiked the gorge.
Okay.
I shredded my knee in a motorcycle wreck. Hiking is not my thing, but I like giving people, premium experiences.
Sure. And I lived there for a little bit, but really I just hiked the bridge, and that was about it, kind of a thing for the most part. I was a kid. And I've got little kids, and they're not hiking all through there right now. Maybe one day. But no, I totally get it.
Yeah, I just love the investment potential. So I finished my first one. I launched it in November.
Okay.
The 10 days between 10 days between Christmas and New Year's, I did 4,500.
Wow.
When I launched it, I thought I'd be around 70,000 gross. Now with some data, I'm looking at more like 90, 95.
Yeah.
And all in, with the furniture, land, construction, I'm in it for about 360.
Now, were you pretty hands-on with that whole side? So had you developed prior to that?
Well, I had a contractor.
Okay.
But I was out there swinging hammers a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And getting in there.
There's no better, and we've talked about it on this podcast a lot, there's no better way to learn than just kind of like getting in there and doing it. Doesn't mean you have to keep doing it, but I like being able to at least know what I'm doing and have experienced it myself.
Yeah, and you get a little better working with people. We talked about the gorge sort of being the Wild West as far as no building code. You do have several inspections, but what I found is some of the subs, if they need money, they work. They don't need money, they don't. And nobody works during deer season.
And I'll be honest, I don't even know when deer season is.
Well, it's in the fall, and if you count bow season, it's about 3 months.
I was thinking it was fall.
Yeah.
Time, but it definitely is a work at your own pace down there kind of a thing in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's island time.
Yeah. But you kind of finished that up during deer season, I guess, then, right? It was November. But what was that process like then? I think sometimes, I am really interested in kind of developing from scratch a place. So you were buying raw land kind of scenario.
Well, I was
Walk through a little bit of that.
I was buying land in a development. So you already had infrastructure. You had roads, water, on-site water. Everyone has to put in a septic system, so they'll do a perk test to see if the soil's compatible.
Yeah.
Or if you need to bring in topsoil and do like a fill and hold for a year.
Right.
But like all my lots passed the perk test. So now, since the first one's done, that was kind of a proof of concept for me. So I'm building 2 more on adjacent lots. So I can do the goal is to do a parent-child listing. So I can offer the 4-bedroom, 2-bath on its own, or the 2-2 A-frame, or the 2-1 more modern outpost style.
Yeah.
Or I can group them together for larger groups.
What's the kind of method of grouping them? Via booking direct, or is it you able to do that through Airbnb or some of the software?
No, I use a PMS system called Hospitable.
Yeah, we talked about it before.
Yeah, that consolidates the calendars among the different OTAs.
Yeah.
So Vrbo or HostAway, Airbnb, and direct booking sites.
Okay, and so you're able to kind of offer that as a package deal through that then, where you're not kind of getting double booked and stuff like that. I wasn't aware of that. That's kind of neat. So Hospitable been working out well then as far as the communication. I know that's key a lot of times too.
I think Hospitable's probably got the best messaging platform out there. I looked at OwnerRez, IGMS, and Guesty.
Yeah.
Guesty for pros.
Yeah.
And for the bang for the buck, Hospitable's messaging's on par. I could sync my Schlag encode locks without having to get a separate remote lock API.
Right.
It integrates
seamlessly integrates.
Yeah, it integrates well with Price Labs.
And what that does is once you get a fully fledged system rolling, I mean, it's really just then you can like add a cabin, add a rental, and it's just more like you got the systems in place really there to kind of.
Yeah, once you build a tech stack, then it's pretty easy to onboard additional properties, whether I own them or whether I'm co-hosting them for somebody else.
What anything else in your tech stack that as far as that goes between that you recommend or kind of have found that you like over others in that sense?
Well, for research purposes, I've got since I'm a realtor, I've got on a short-term rental specific team out in North Carolina, I've got nationwide access to AirDNA.
Yep, that's awesome.
That helps. Also, Kenny Bedwell's got a product called STR Insights.
Okay,
that really helps if you're not sure where you want to invest. It compares the market price to expected revenue all across the country, so you can kind of hone in on a place in Michigan or some obscure place in Arizona that you never thought of.
Really? Because I'm obviously familiar with AirDNA, and for those that aren't, I mean, it's more just a giant database of data specifically on the VRBO listings and Airbnb listings.
Right. They scrape data daily, so you get a pretty good picture. It's a trailing 3-month picture of what a product or what a property actually did in the last year, and it shows the revenue potential of what it could do because some dates are blocked out. Owners use them. If it was just a complete investment property that you didn't care if you went to or not, what could this generate? Yeah,
and that's and for those that don't know, it is sizable for the subscription. Obviously, you get into it through the the realtor side of things, the program that you're in, but. I even got a free version of it. And even then, there's still a lot of pretty useful data off the free version that I've even utilized, looking at when I'm doing research and stuff like that. So
and there's another site called Rabu. It's free. You can do RABBU.
BBU. Okay.
Yeah, and it's kind of like AirDNA's Rentalizer. You put in a specific address.
Right.
Put in the bed bath count, number of heads and beds, and it'll give you kind of a general idea of what you can expect.
Okay. I'll have to look at that one up. So more just the Rentalizer version of that site only kind of thing. Nice. One of the things I've seen is you always kind of, you're thinking outside of the box, I think, a lot of times from what I've seen as far as your posts and so forth. So one of those being what kind of got us on the conversation was more or less like being able to kind of market back to tenants that had rented from you previously. So talk a little bit about the ways that you're doing that, which is kind of sometimes easier to kind of get recurring business out of a short-term rental.
Yeah, so I use a wireless access point. So when I could give them the Wi-Fi password, and then they just have it. But what I use, it's got a splash page. It looks just like when you check in at Marriott. Instead of entering your room number, you just enter your first name and your email address, and you've got free Wi-Fi for the duration of your stay.
Right.
So what that allows me to do is collect all the emails for all the adult occupants. Well, because when you're on Airbnb and you get a guest, all you really get, they want all the communication stay on platform because they don't want you to, convert them to direct booking clients in the future. So I use this as kind of a workaround. so that once I have their email addresses, then I can I can either do direct remarketing towards those people, or I can do targeted remarketing, where, believe it or not, Facebook probably knows more about you than your wife does. Definitely knows more about like what my profile is.
Yeah.
And so if I went to
100%.
this cabin and had a great experience, I can use that email address and say, hey, Facebook, do this marketing campaign with splash pages to everybody within, driving distance that looks like Shane.
Yeah.
So it really gives you more bang for your buck on your ad dollars.
And key being there, like you said, with it as well being you get the Airbnb, whoever's booking it's contact information, but using the hub to kind of log in, like you said, I don't want to skip over that. You're getting all the adults in there that want to have access on their phone or laptop or iPad. So you're getting, you got one booking, but you're maybe getting 4, 5, 6 emails.
Yeah, 8 or 10 other emails for each
out of the
each
one booking.
Kind of right, so it builds up a database pretty quickly, and you can integrate that with MailChimp. Yeah. So you can do drip marketing.
Exactly.
And let them know about festivals in the area or events that are coming up.
Yeah.
And I offer them specials for direct booking.
Exactly. So and I've honestly started doing that more and more, the direct booking side of things, in the sense that I've always, when I'm looking up especially vacation spots where I'm going to be there for a week, and there's a good chance that there's I always go find it on like Airbnb or VRBO. I'll look up and say, all right, who's the host? And it's just kind of a generic, Shane. Okay, that's gonna be harder for me to go find Shane's direct booking site, obviously. But if it's like something property, whatever, that's usually a trigger for me to be like, all right, I'm gonna go look that up, and I'm usually can very easily find a direct booking site. And the benefit of that, of course, is in some ways more for the host in some ways, where you're getting usually more of the income because we're bypassing the fees and stuff like that on Airbnb and stuff like that. But then you also, usually it's a little bit cheaper on my end as the guest type of thing.
And one thing you can do, if you're trying to drive direct booking traffic from something like Airbnb, if your property's branded, if you put your brand on a barrelhead or whatever, or as part of a backdrop for like an Instagram wall, put the picture up. Yeah. Put a .com on it, and so like a savvy guest will know, hey, maybe I should check out this website too. Via
the pictures that are on. That's a great way to think.
Yeah, because their algorithm or their software doesn't really have great image detection. Yeah. So it knows what a living room is. It knows what a bedroom is. It doesn't know that you're doing a little ninja marketing.
That's a great way to do that. See that? I love that. One of the other things we had kind of discussed a little bit too is just the not the standard insurance, but the supplementary insurance side of things. And I was not aware of this at all. I don't know if anyone else, I'm sure other people are out there, but nobody that we've talked to on the show has ever mentioned it. But talk a little bit about that as far as insuring the stays on behalf of the guests, so that you're kind of, again, if something happens or you're kind of being able to use that and not have to really ever dip into your own insurance or have to deal with Airbnb or something like that. And how I know they're a mess a lot of times.
I've seen mixed stories about how well air cover actually works. Yeah. They throw a big number out and say, oh, you're covered for $5 million. Well, good luck getting it. Yeah. So some of the PMSs like Guesty, or they'll use something like Safely. That's a supplemental insurance. Hospitable didn't have one. Okay. So during one of my mastermind calls, they had the CEO of Wavo on the call. He described
WAIVO.
WAIVO. Yeah. And what they do is it's supplemental insurance. You pick your own insurance levels. I picked the $3,000 level, and it covers unintentional and intentional damage and theft.
Being an insurance myself, the fact that it says intentional damage too, you'll never find that on anything, even on your standard coverages.
Yeah, a kid takes sidewalk chalk and draws all over the wall. Obviously, that's intentional. Yeah. They'll pay to repaint your wall. Yeah. But $3,000, it's $35 per stay until you reach 100 stays. Mm-hmm. Then they drop it down to $26 per stay. So it doesn't matter if it's a day or 28 days. It's $3,000 in coverage. Mm-hmm. Minimum claims $50, and it's sort of so. by the 10th of the month, I send them a list of my guest names, check-in date, check-out date.
Okay.
And then they ACH $35 per stay out of my accounts.
Yeah.
If I make a claim, they put the money back in my account within 2 days. But the big thing is they don't contact the guests to get their side of the story.
Yeah.
So it eliminates all that fear of retaliatory reviews, because most people on Airbnb, especially they got superhost status, they're scared to death that they're going to fall below that 4.9, lose their superhost, and they're going to go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And some, most of my guests are fantastic. I mean, they have great experiences. I don't have any issues with them, but I'm in enough message boards where I see the nightmares.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to deal with it. So I put a little delta in my cleaning fee to supplement what it's going to cost me for that Wavo coverage. And it's peace of mind for me, and it's peace of mind for my co-host clients.
Yeah. That's awesome. Because you're also co-hosting for others at this point. When you've got systems and processes this well in place, might as well.
Yeah, like I said, it's pretty easy to onboard another property.
Yeah.
Especially into the tech stack. You still have to get professional photographs. You still have to write the copy. I actually use OpenAI to write a lot of the copy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a good writer, but
if you got good prompts and you're like, here's what I want it to be. Yeah. You're the conductor. It'll write it faster.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Why am I going to overwork myself when it can do? As long as you give you good prompts and structure it the way you want to. So that's awesome. I was not aware of Wavo. Sounds like an awesome tool, like you said. I hadn't even thought about the fact yet. Part about kind of protecting yourself from the reviews you have and making sure, because who wants to go get a bad review because you had to contact the guest over some issue or something like that?
Well, the first time you make a claim, like if somebody, I don't know, breaks a chair and you go through Airbnb, air cover is kind of the coverage of last resort. Yeah. They're going to try to get the money out of the guest first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're going to try to do a resolution with the guest and bill the guest directly. And then the guest might get ticked off and try to do a chargeback for the whole stay because you're in the woods, but they found a spider on the deck. So it just created a lot of hassles that I didn't want to deal with.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And then one of the other another unique thing you said you were doing is where, again, obviously we do a lot of this stuff with real estate for more of just having passive income. People say passive income, but obviously there's nothing truly passive. You still have to work and figure things out. So I think that idea is obviously far-fetched in some respects. But what I'm saying, building up income that's kind of self-sustaining on itself while building up value out of the equity of the real estate in different ways, and then the tax codes and taking advantage of that. But one of the other ones that you were talking about that you were mentioning is like kind of taking everything within the Airbnb. Someone really likes something and creating revenue streams, if like almost allowing people to purchase what's in the Airbnb itself type of scenario. And I've got a couple questions with that, but talk a little bit, kind of introduce what that is a little bit.
Yeah, there's a company called Minoan, and I met the founder down in Miami. Okay. And what they do is they contract with 300 or so different vendors like West Elm or Crate and Barrel, American Textile, Cowboy Cauldrons, anything that could go in a short-term rental, from the furniture to the textiles to the silverware or coffee makers. And they're able to negotiate pretty deep discounts with these vendors because what we're doing is we're giving our guests sort of a showroom experience. So you can see an ad for a hairdryer, but you don't know how well that hairdryer dries your hair until you use it. Yeah. So by by creating an audience of people for these companies to actually test their products, we get a discount. But the cool thing is, if somebody wants to purchase something that's in our unit, then we don't have price tags on everything, but there's
like we're staying in IKEA.
Right. But there's everything in there that we got through Minoan is shoppable. They create a sort of a shopping site by room. Okay. And a list of everything in that room. Really? And so the customer the guest can just purchase what they want, have it shipped to their house. We split the commission 50-50 with Minoan.
Okay.
So if you got a purple mattress, somebody
Yeah.
never slept on one, had the best night's sleep that they've ever had, then they can have it shipped to their house. And I think if 4 people purchase it, then it pays for your upfront investment in the furniture. So
again, they're not like they're taking it out of the house itself, but again, it's more like almost like the old the airplane. It's where you got the little magazine.
It's like
Sky Mall.
Yeah.
And shop almost what you're using in some respects, though, at the same time. And that's cool.
And one other thing I do like about it, if you're launching multiple properties, you've really already got your shopping list of everything that goes in there, from toilet scrubbers, plungers, toiletries, pots and pans.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to onboard like a brand new property if you want to use the same kind of style.
Is it even doing some of the stuff, whether it's the shampoos, soaps, the toiletries, that kind of stuff? That's
the apothecary stuff.
A lot of, That's awesome. Yeah, because you usually see a lot of those things. That's the one thing I think I've always seen and be like, oh, I really like this brand of shampoo, whatever it is, type of thing. That's neat. Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to kind of get to do a deep dive into this, like stuff like that. There's so many people I think are very passive in this, which is fine. But treating it like a business, obviously, like you're doing with just thinking outside the box. I'm sure the mastermind, and I was going to point to that a little bit. There's so much value these days, as well as so much out there that you can. There's no excuse anymore for not finding some kind of mastermind group, some kind of coaching, something to really invest in yourself, and that goes so much further, I think, than anyone ever realizes, that you can fast track yourself. Because I don't know what I don't know, and honestly, this podcast in some ways was kind of like, I don't know what I don't know, so let's start talking and have those conversations with people type of scenario. So how's that impacted, obviously, your business in that sense?
Well, when I had my first cabin under construction, something popped up on my Facebook about a STR Wealth Conference down in Nashville. I'm like, well, that's drivable. And I looked at the agenda, and what I really thought I wanted to find out about was tax strategies, design ideas, because I'm a guy. I design things for myself, and doesn't really have feminine touch. Because what I found out is most often than not, if it's a family, the wife is booking the property.
Yeah.
So you need to make it appealable to them as well as your general guest avatar. So I went there by myself, didn't know anybody, and Mike Sjogren was one of the hosts of the event. And after having conversations with him, my personality, I like to learn on my own. I can learn how to do almost anything on YouTube. Oh yeah. I built the 6-figure Amazon business without buying a book, and that was great. But when you're dealing with real estate, if I screw up, it could devastate me.
Yeah.
So
right.
So I wanted to be able to pick people's brains that had been in the industry a lot longer than me, and I could learn from their mistakes, not duplicate them.
Yeah.
So it was it was a little daunting. It took me a while to tell my wife how much I actually paid to join it. But she saw the value in it pretty quickly. Yeah. And we have 4 regular calls a week.
Oh, wow. That many.
Yeah. We'll have one on scale and operations, marketing, a general call with Mike on Tuesdays. I'm in an accountability group with 5 other guys that, we're all at different stages of our business growth. Yeah. But we kind of hold each other accountable to our weekly goals.
And those groups are awesome because you'll find people that are they have no business really helping me, but yet because they're so willing to do so in that. That's the thing I think I was shocked about, getting into real estate, when I opened my doors on my own insurance agency and stuff like that. No one tells you how to run an insurance agent. You have to figure that part out yourself, kind of a thing. But there's so many people out there in these groups or stuff like that. They're so willing to kind of have conversations and help you at the drop of a hat, that really just out of the love of the game, so to speak.
Well, one thing, you think of real estate as kind of competitive, and I'm a realtor, and I try to stay out of those games. But I try to create. Well, I get jacked watching other people succeed, and I try to be an open book with anybody that asks, and tell them what I know, and try to point them in the right direction. And if they take off, that's what gives me Yeah, that's what keeps me going, because I might have played a small part in helping them get that boutique hotel off the ground.
Yeah.
So that, doing it for myself, the money's fantastic. But one of my favorite things, and I'm not one of those people that watches the cameras. I think that's creepy. I'll look at the clip when they come in.
Yeah.
Just to, if they said they weren't bringing a dog and they bring a kennel.
Yeah.
Then they're going to get a
make
call.
sure.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure the face matches the face of the person that booked.
Yeah.
So it's not like a third party booking.
Right.
But when the kids open the door and they're like, "Mom, you got to see this. This is amazing."
Yeah.
Like it just makes you feel good. Like you did a good job, and you're helping those guests create like strong memories.
Sure.
Yeah. So that keeps me going.
There's a lot to. I was recently going down some videos and talking to my wife and stuff like that. There's a lot to the psyche of memories, childhood, your relationship with your spouse or significant other from experiences, and like those are those memories usually that are the kind of usually the front and foremost part of your memories as far as when you think about happy things regarding those. So yeah, to that point, yeah, you're really if you're in that mindset within the short-term rental business or whatnot, of really like you're in an experience business kind of thing in focusing on that as a positive return for them.
And one thing I'd suggest to like other investors, because there are some people like they'll rent out their private home when they're not there.
Yeah.
And what I found is they tend to look at their guests as more, I don't know, intruders, and like little things would kind of destroy their day. So if you can detach yourself and say, look, this is an investment property. The point is to put money in my pocket to build equity in this house, to get the tax benefits from maybe doing a cost segregation, and see it for what it is. You're gonna be a lot happier in the long run. So if you want to rent out your personal house, just do a little self-assessment.
Right.
Like, can you actually do that?
Yeah. Because 100%. One of the last tips I think I want to kind of quickly go over, I think most people don't think about, is maybe the furniture aspect, especially when it comes to beds, of like thinking through which ones are going to behoove bed bugs and which ones are not. So what, in your experience, we've not talked about this at all on the show, but thinking through that mindset of what when you're putting furniture in the bedroom.
Yeah, you just don't
need to think about that.
Yeah, you just don't want to create a nice habitat for bed bugs to live. And one thing they do like are those the natural knotty log beds. It's got a lot of crevices, a lot of holes.
Ones all over
everything in Gatlinburg.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like the look, and God forbid, somebody breaks one.
Yeah.
You've got to have a carpenter that can repair it. So I like steel platform beds with no box spring.
Yeah.
And the headboard, it can be a little bit of wood, that's fine, but you 100% have to encapsulate your mattress with a waterproof mattress protector that zips up.
Okay.
Do the same with your pillows. Then you don't want to get.
That's going between the layer of like sheets and.
Well, it's the first thing that goes over the mattress. Then you put your fitted mattress.
Yep.
I like triple sheeting. I hate duvets. They're a pain to wash.
Yeah.
It just takes the cleaner longer.
Okay.
I know people want
to say triple sheeting, meaning you're not doing it. You're in a comforter, but you're just as well.
No
comforter.
So
just three sheets.
It's a fitted sheet.
Yeah.
It's a white sheet on top of that.
Yeah.
It's a sort of a microfiber throw on top of that, and then another white sheet on top of that. So it looks nice. It looks crisp. It's warm. You can hospital corner it. And then you've got your pillows, shams, and a couple of decorative pillows.
Yeah. Nice.
And then just some extra blankets in the closet.
And it's all those little details that if you're thinking about it up front or researching it, figuring out those tips ahead of time will save a lot of headache on the back end for sure.
Yeah.
100%. So hopefully I'm going to get into the short-term, midterm rentals at some point, but we'll kind of see when I can.
Maybe some other time we can get into like how to CYA through how you're organizing. Yeah. Like your business structure. Yeah. And your insurance.
Yeah. We've definitely talked a little bit about the insurance side of things, but not the business structure. So definitely have to talk more about that. And so don't want to keep your time here, but I appreciate you coming on the show today. If anybody wants to kind of direct book or reach out to you or something like that, what are some ways that they could do so?
My email is shane@savvy.realty with 2 V's. And my website's southernhospitalitygroup.co.
Okay. Simple as that.
Yep.
And then development there in Slade, we can always try to keep an update on that. We've heard that there might be the green light on it.
Yeah, the conference center, I heard it's got the green light. One of the common issues is water.
Yeah.
Powell County just raised their water tap fees by 50% in the spring.
50%?
Yeah, it went from $1,000 to $1,500. So I got a couple of them in, like right under the window.
And like we talked about staffing, though, would be another idea of what.
Well, staff. I mean, you're going to need a lot of employees, and they don't live there now. And when they come, where are they going to live?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I mean, look, people smarter than me are figuring out those problems. Right. There's a development in Rogers that's going to be huge. It's 1,100 acres.
Okay.
5,000 seat amphitheater, nine-hole golf course through the mountains.
Really?
So it'll be. I went out there a few weeks ago when they're in the middle of excavation. The golf course is supposed to be open by next Memorial Day.
Oh wow.
And then there's another development.
I'd almost say it's harder to like figure out a golf course out there than it is developing real estate. So maybe finding an actual hole that you wouldn't fall off the side of the mountain.
Yeah, with the ball. There's going to be a lot of elevated tee boxes. Yeah. So if you're like me and you like to feel like a monster,
right,
because you just hit that 3-wood 180 yards, but it carried 400 because it's down a mountain, then give it a shot.
That's funny. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show, and we will see everyone back here for next week on another episode of the Keys to the Commonwealth podcast. Shane, thanks again.
Yeah, anytime.
Appreciate it.
All right.
To learn more about this podcast, visit our page at keystothecommonwealth.com. To connect with Landry regarding insuring your investment portfolio, email landry@novainsuranceGroup.com or call 859-687-2004.